Hey ladies, hey. All right, ladies, I wanted to come on here briefly this morning as I am riding out, doing some work, working hard and hardly working. But I just wanted to come on here this morning, just kind of be an encourager about just, what God is doing and how God is getting ready to shift some things concerning the people as well as myself. And so, I was thinking to myself yesterday about getting back into blogging and all these little great things. But anywho, God reminded me about a sermon title where it just simply talked about don't give up, pick it up. And I just kept hearing God say this to me for about 2 months, y'all. Literally like 2 months. God just kept reminding me all through the month of July, don't give up, just pick it up. Don't give up, just pick it up. And this morning I was reminded of the very word that he gave me. And this was one of the words that God had given me to minister to my flock of people at church. And so I didn't get a chance to minister it, and I think just because I was just in a very, very low place. Just I don't often tell people what I go through, but I just think that this morning it's needed, I think, because it's an encouragement to other people. But I remember just sitting on the edge of the bed this morning. I was just crying because I was just in such a different place within myself. And for about 2 months I was just literally battling with a lot of things, and God just reminded me about don't give up, but pick it up. Like he said, pick it up, just pick it up. You have to trust me even if you don't get people to support this. Just pick it up. So I want to encourage you guys this morning. One of the things that I heard God say was, the righteous have not forsaken thee. God has not forsaken thee. Man has forsaken thee, but God has not forsaken thee. What God is simply saying is that he has not forgot about you, that he did not overlook you, that he sees you, like he's looking down on you. Even though that you may feel like God is not moving fast enough, or you may not feel like God is not moving at all, just know on today that God said the righteous have not forsaken thee. He has not forsaken you. He has not forgot about you. He knows the prayers that you have laboring before him. God knows the way that you're getting ready to take. He knows the direction that you're getting ready to go. But I just want you to be encouraged this morning and just not give up, but pick it back up. Pick up the very thing that God has orchestrated for you to do. Get back in that happy place, that motivational place, and don't move from it this go round. Like, don't allow things, people, and circumstances to deter you from the place that God has you. It is so vital to keep your face to God no matter what. And I'm telling y'all, like in the midst of this 2.5 month period that I was going through, trying to figure out, God, did you really call me? God, is this really what you want me to do? Why is it so hard? Like, and I was looking, and I'm going to just be upfront and very transparent this morning. I was looking at things in the natural eye where I saw others prospering, moving and doing this, and people were supporting it, and and I barely get 1 or 2 likes, and I got discouraged because see, the enemy began to cause me to look at things in the natural and look at it, but God had to reel me back, reel me back in. And God began to pinpoint the areas where I was lacking, and God said, you lacking very, very low in your confidence. You're lacking very low in your faith. You're lacking very low in your belief. Like God said, you can't believe everything that you see. Don't lie. You know how they always say your eyes can be deceiving? He was like, don't allow what you see to deceive you from me, because I have not forsaken thee. I didn't forget about you. I didn't overlook you. My hands are still on it. So I'm encouraging you. God is saying his hands is still on the pot. God said he is still mixing some things up behind the scene. See, God said it's not going to be a foreseen thing all the time. Every season is going to be a different season. Like, I'm not going to always cause a foreseen thing. This is not going to be one of the way that God is going to bless us, and the way that he's getting ready to orchestrate our life is not going to be something that's going to be foreseen. That means that man is not going to be able to foresee the move of God concerning you, concerning the circumstances, concerning where you stand, concerning where you labor, concerning where you lay your head at. God is saying this is not a foreseen season. Man is not going to be able to foresee the promises that he has bestowed your life. This is a season where you will be able to get up and take charge. You'll be able to get up and launch in. You're going to be able to get up and do the very thing. And then when you come out, like Joe said, he know the way that I take it, that when I am tested and tried, that I will come out as pure as gold. God is saying, when you come out, you're gonna come out as pure as gold, meaning that you're gonna be able to tap into things that those that were around you were trying to keep you from being able to tap in. I need someone to be encouraged on this morning. This is not a foreseen experience in this season. God said this is an unseen experience. God is going to show you supernatural experiences, supernatural miracles, supernatural breakthroughs, supernatural clarity, but it's not going to be by man's understanding. You have to understand that in this season, it is not about man. It is not about being attached to this person and that person. It's about you and God. This is a you and God season. I love Sarah Jakes because that's a raw sister, but she be on point about sometimes it's just a you and God season. Can you be okay with if it's just you and God walking in that season? Be encouraged on today. I'm just telling y'all, the righteous haven't forsaken. If only y'all heard my prayers and my outcry to God, you will understand what I'm saying this morning. See, God had to remind me about everything that I'm saying to you on a day. God reminded me in the last week. Last 2 weeks, he's been reminding me, pick it up. Don't give up. Pick it back up. And he reminded me, said, pick it back up. Just pick it up. And when you do, you'll begin to see me move. See, God want to see, are we willing to take action? Not look for man to be the support. And I just literally said this to someone. I was like, you know what? I need to revamp the vision on my ministry, because when I took my vision in my own terms and not the vision of what God had given me, I focused on pulling my friends in this season, and I wanted them to support, so I would tag them. And it's nothing wrong with inviting those that are around you to be connected, because sometimes there are certain things that what God is downloading in you and then you're outputting out of your mouth. There are certain things that they need to hear. But God was reminding me that in this season, like, it's a lot of things that I'm downloading in you is not always going to be meant for the same people. Like, those same people, like, for years I was doing this. I was pulling my friends. I was pulling those that I knew to be a part, to partake in this thing that God was doing. But God was showing me, like, are you willing to take this step this time by yourself? I don't want you to connect to them, because I was using them, and then every time when they don't get on, it's a discouragement. Guess what? The reason why is discouraging because, well, we lack trust in God. We not trusting God where he can fulfill a vision, that he can send the ramekin of the people, that he can send the sheep one by one, even if it's just you and two people on there that you don't know. Like, just be okay with it. You don't always have to have those that you're familiar with. See, God is saying, he's like, I even gonna call some of the people, even call certain things in certain people's lives that you're gonna still be in a familiar place, but God will connect you with the unfamiliar in the familiar place. Oh my God. Like, look at how God is getting ready to bless us in a mighty way. And I just simply said, God said the righteous haven't forsaken. So the righteous haven't forsaken me. That means that, like I said again, he's not overlooking you. Like, he's not. And sometimes we feel like God is forsaking us. Like he forgot about us. He overlooked our prayers. I'm telling y'all, look, I done been there. I was there this morning. Like, I was like, yo, like, you're not moving. Like, I'm not getting it. But God was saying, I'm giving you the tools to move, but I want you to also show me that you're ready for the things that I have in store. I'm encouraging y'all, the righteous haven't forsaken you. God had to give me a boomerang understanding. He said, one, he said, tell my people, I've given them the tools. So it's not like I'm overlooking. I haven't forsaken them. They haven't made the unction to move. He said the second, he's like, the second is, he was like, look, tell them again, I haven't overlooked them. That he said he's giving you the tools. The second part is you got to take the unction to move. You got to move, take the faith, take the steps to move. God told the disciples when they were on the boat and they were going through the storm and all this other stuff, and they looking at him like Jesus, like, yo, what's really good? God said, go back. Some of them are in the disciples. You're in your disciple season. And he said, God said, just like Jesus told them laying at the other end of the boat, he said, have ye, O little faith. God said the third part was, okay, he gave you the first nugget. The first nugget was, he's giving you the tools to equip the very thing that he has for you to manifest. The second is, you got to have the unction to move. The third is, God said, now, the third part was, have ye, O little faith. So when we look at the tool, God said he's given us instruction. That's Psalms 32:8. He said, I will instruct thee. He said, I will instruct thee in the way that shall go, with. Meaning that he's going to instruct you. He's going to guide you. He's going to tell you your every step, right? And then God said, then once he gives you all of the download of what to do, he said, now it is on you. You have the ability to perform. You have the ability to function. He said, now it is on you, sons and daughters, to go in the way of that God has instructed. You got to go the way. So he's telling me to break it down. So now I'm taking a slowdown in what is God saying. So in the midst of that, when God gives you the unction to move, that means you have to preparation, put things together so that you can see it manifest. It's not that God doesn't want you to have it, but you have to move. You got to move, and you got to move quick. It can't be, you can't stagger. And that's what one of the things that he was giving me in this season. He said, daughter, no more staggering. You will not stagger. My leader said it last Sunday. There's no more staggering, no more strifing in the spirit. No more stagger. So now he's telling you, got to preparation. Show him that you are ready for that thing you want to see manifest. Okay, so that's one. That's 2, 3. And then God was saying, and in the midst of, as you're packing up these things, as you're putting things in place, God is saying, now, sons and daughters, he said, just like I told the disciples, have ye, O little faith. He said, in the midst of it, and you might go through some trial and error period, but God said, even in the midst of preparing for what he has for you, God is saying, you got to have faith. You got to have faith. He's giving us 3 nuggets. He's going to give us an instruction. Well, first he gave us 4. 1, he hadn't forgot about you. 2, he's going to give you the instructions and the tools. He said he's giving you the instructions and the tools. 3, it's on you to have the unction to move. You got to move. Now you got to show God, hey, God, I really want this thing. And he showed me too. He said that to me one morning. He's like, you got to show me you really want this. So now I'm like, okay. And then God will give you a time frame where you need to have all these things put in place. He said, you got to show me, daughter. And I'm crying, and I'm like, God said, but I already told you what you needed to do. Like, this is all I want you to do. That's it. Like, this is all I want you to do. So what he's telling me to do to encourage you, he's like, now, look, now I have told you I didn't forget about you. That means that I have heard your cry. I have saw your tears. I am a God that sits high, but I'm looking down low. I am a God that shall not lie. Like, I'm a father that will fulfill all promises. He said, do you understand that I'm a miracle worker, promise keeper? He was like, I make things happen. And see, he needs us to understand. He's like, even in Jeremiah 33:18, it simply said that there's nothing too hard for him. God said, try me in this season. Put whatever it is that you were seeking after, lay it before me. Just try me in this season. And so then the third, he said that the only thing I need you to do is just stand firm in your faith. Just stand on it. Stand knowing that without a shadow of doubt, that the promises of Abraham is going to manifest itself, that it's going to reveal itself in appointed time. And that's what God told Job. And Job said it in his word. He said that he said that when I am tested and tried, he said, but though you slave me, yet still you trust me. This is Job speaking now, y'all. Though you slave me, yet still you trust me. In an appointed time will I see change. See, God is saying, even in the midst of it, like you're going to still, I may test you, I may stretch you in your faith, but though I slave you, though I stretch you, though I cause a stretching in the midst of what I promise you, will you still trust me? And will you stand in the midst of the storm, despite thereof, knowing that I will manifest what I've promised to you? And I'm back at it again. God said, the righteous have not forsaken. He said, I haven't forgot about you. He said, to remind you again of the four nuggets, not just the three, but the four. One, the righteous haven't forsaken you. 2, Psalms 32 and 8, he said, but I will instruct you with thy eyes and teach you in the way of to go. And I'm going to add Psalms 21 and 1. It says, but I lift up my eyes up to the hills that will come with my help, that my help comes from the Lord. And I'm going to add Psalms 23 and 1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. See, you got to know that the Lord is who he say that he is. The book of life. You gotta edify, you gotta fortify that word over every circumstances. Every circumstances. And then God wants to see, like Noah. God gave Noah and Moses instructions to do something. God gave Abraham instructions to do something. They didn't stagger in the midst of what he instructed. God gave them the tools. He said, I will give you the ability to do the very thing that man said you can't do. Oh my God. And you know, and like he told him, he said, look, he said, now, he said, go back. And I'm telling y'all, as I'm talking to y'all, God is like literally telling me to go back. He said, now, he said, tell them again, daughter. God said to tell y'all, he said, one, the righteous haven't forsaken. That means he didn't overlook you. He's here. He's heard your prayer. Like God said, he see it all. 2, he said, Psalms 32, he said, I will give you the tools. Psalms 32 and 8. And then I've added Psalms 121 and 1 and Psalms 23 and 1, because it talks about, like he's telling you, I'm your Lord and your Savior. Like I'm your shepherd. Like I will be your keeper. And then he was like, even when you are to the point where you feel like you want to break, God said, you lift up your eyes up to the hills will come your help. God said, sometimes even in the midst of the promise, even in the midst of the storm, remind him of what he promised you. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, this was me this morning. Like, oh my God, remind him of what he promised you. And then just always acknowledge him as Lord of Lord. And then the third thing that God even said, have you, O little faith. I use the disciples as a great example of when they were on the boat and they followed behind him. They were so quick to follow Jesus. They wanted to follow behind him, right? And so God he was testing their hearts to see if they really was ready for what he has called them to do, right? Because Jesus had trained them and everything, and God caused the storm. And in the midst of the storm, you know, the way the boat was shifting up and down, they were trying to figure out, was they gonna die? Was they gonna survive on the boat? But then here you got brother at the end of the boat, and he laying on the pillow like, I'm chilling. God said, take a chill pill even in the midst of what I promise you. Just stand firm in your faith. Without faith, you have nothing. But with faith, all things are possible, right? And so as they were walking to the end of the boat, you know, God was telling, Jesus said, have you a little faith? Where's y'all faith at? Y'all don't need me. Y'all can speak to the storm. See, when we have faith over a small ounce of faith, a small ounce of faith can do a world of a difference. It can make everything eradicate right in place. So I'm encouraging you guys on this morning to stay the course. Trust the process. I mean, literally, like y'all, I've been crying so much the last couple of days. I was just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to emotional breakdown. Like everything was just happening. God was just like, daughter, but this doesn't have anything to do with emotional breakdown. This is literally me stretching you more in your faith, me stretching you more in the midst of understanding where I'm taking you, me stretching you for you to understand that man can't go where you're going. You can't take those that you're attached to. I'm unattaching you. So what I'm saying, God is unattaching you, and just understand God will bring you clarity to the place where you are. Like he's not, and I kept saying this for 3 weeks, y'all. I promise y'all I was saying this. I kept saying the one thing I know about that man up there, he'll never leave you in the blind. He's gonna always bring clarification to you daily, so you can understand where you are on a daily basis, because every day we are battling with trial and error. And I was just like, oh my God, like I literally can't believe like God was just sharing this in my spirit, like he was literally blessing me. And so I literally want you guys to be encouraged about everything that God is doing in this season. Get excited. And that's what he was showing me just through prayer and through fasting and understanding. He's like, it really don't have anything to do, but he was reminding about the promise. He said the reason why this is going on, like the reason why you were going through this week, is because I need you to understand the where you're getting ready to stand and who you're getting ready to stand with. You have to be strong. You have to be strong. You have to be girded. But now you understand that even in the, and I'm telling y'all, when y'all even get in your promise, don't just think that it's gonna be all Gucci and gravy, because it's not. It ain't gonna be Gucci and gravy. It's not. Literally, God is just going to test us even in the midst of, as we walk through the doors of the promise. Because also God wants you to understand too, whilst we're ending, God wants you to be able to recognize him always as Lord or Lord. That you know that the things that you're about to embark on did not come by man. Nobody will be able to get the credit this time for what God is getting ready to do. This is one of the reasons why God said in this year, he said the reason why I have stripped you down to the point where you almost look as if you have nothing is because I don't want man to get the glory out of any of the things that I'm getting ready to lift you back up into. And then this time when I lift you up in it, you're gonna know and realize that it was me the entire time. Like all of the things that you're doing prior was not be by man's doing. This is all of my doing. Now that you've walked with me all this time, you will be able to glorify me no matter where it is. Your face will lit up just talking about who I am as your Lord and Lord. And I want to encourage you guys as I close out. Look, your suffering is over. Like the song said, it ain't over until God said it's done. It's not. Like your suffering. And one of the things that he showed me last night, just through the cleansing, the washing of my tears, while I was praying before him, when I got in the house, y'all, I literally just had like a meltdown. But I went before the Lord and I cried. And God reminded me, he's like, guess what, daughter? That time that you are holding on to no longer will dwell in this new place. That it no longer will dwell in the new place. He's like, guess what, daughter? It is over. I know that was a rough time for you. See, I'm telling y'all, God will go back 2 years and identify exactly where your hurt is. And I was hurting, and I was telling God how that had hurt my life. Like I felt like that was a rough time. And as he was communicating with me, he said, but didn't I told you that I was not going to allow your feet to slip nor slumber? He was like, I didn't allow your feet to slip nor slumber. Even though you were in the midst of what I call a wilderness experience, but your feet did not slip, nor did it slumber. He said, you will no longer have to go through. And what I'm saying is, your battle is over. Your suffering no longer will be your suffering. That means that God is saying that I am closing the door of all your wilderness experience, and I'm getting ready to cause you to walk in the land which I have promised to you. So I'm encouraging you all, stay to the fire, stay to the process, stay the course, because it's getting ready to produce some great things for your life. It's going to open up some amazing doors that will fortify the glory of God in this season and every season to come. See, you're going to be able to be as girded as possible. Man is not going to be able to take from you what the enemy tried to take from you. See, God is getting ready to give you a season of recompense. See, the cankerworms and the locusts is not going to be able to wiggle up this time in the dirt, because that's how thick God got the the foundation. See, God is covering this thing with concrete so you can stand. You won't have no sinkhole seasons. Your feet will not slide no more because you will no longer walk on wet ground. But see, God is causing you to walk like your life is getting, the gravel of your feet is getting ready to level up. So this is a season where God said, I'm going to cause you to level up. But understand, as I end, God said, the righteous haven't forsaken you. May God bless you. May this blog bless you. May it encourage you on today. Have a terrific Friday. That normally they say Thursday, but this is what the Lord said. Have a terrific Friday, a fun Friday, a fantastic Friday, a wonderful Friday. It don't matter, any kind of Friday. Just know that God is getting ready to turn it around and then do it double again. Man, it's not gonna get the glory out of it, but when God brings you back